hey, listen, look at the 60s, look at James Brown. You know, there's a whole initiative for change. And there has been a lot of change. There's so much more opportunities now than existed 40 years ago. The unions have been opened up. The police, the fire departments, they've all been opened up to people of all races, genders. It is a different world. But why is there this stagnation, these holes of stagnation, like parts of Richmond and Oakland? Why is this still going on? You know?
I'll give some quick solutions, I think. I mean, a lot of people will sit here and they say, well, you know, what do we do to solve the problem? What is the solution? Well, it's real simple. When we got plenty of prisons, we have plenty of police officers, we have plenty of people in our social system to try to bring correction. Everything's all in place. You know, the problem is the way that you guys are doing things. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to say that you lock a 17-year-old kid up who hasn't had anything and you just put him in your system, you deserve to go to hell. You deserve to have something bad happen to you.
But what does that system do to a 17-year-old
that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
For that judge to sit there and judge that poorly deserves a judgment on him. If you're going to take a kid that grew up in East Oakland or North Richmond who's never had anything and not begin to put in a system that's going to correct his behaviors or at least give him a chance to correct it on a decent level, if he's never had no money, never had no dad, lived up in the ghetto, didn't get a proper school education, all these things, and then you want to give him 10 years for carrying some crack, you know, you deserve to go to hell. You're a crooked judge because you are misappropriating the proper procedures and the proper discernment of judging. You don't judge a kid that doesn't deserve something like that. So you don't do it like that. The bottom line is this, you know, if you're dealing with a 30-year-old who's had 5 different convictions of carrying a gun and harming people, and then you slap him with 10, 20 years, that's a good judgment. You know, because obviously there's something wrong with his character. But when you start taking 20-year-old black men who've been totally stripped of everything and never had anything proper in their lives, unless that black guy or that black man has repeatedly done so many vicious and crazy acts, you still don't just, I mean, you slap a judgment that's fair. But if he is a 15-year-old boy, he got his first dope case, and then you want to put him in Pelican Bay or San Quentin for 15 years because he got caught with a pound of coke or he did something, you gotta look in it as a parent and say, okay, this kid didn't have the proper upbringing. This kid didn't get any education. He's been stripped of fairness. There's so many things that are out of place. Maybe why don't you guys create a jail that, if you're going to give black men this many years in prison, why don't you create a nice jail where a lot of these young kids can get an education and get a trade. If you want to make money off of black kids, create a prison that gives them a chance that when they get out they can do something with their life. So that way when your greedy takes $50,000 a year for every black kid that goes to jail, or every black kid that breaks the law, at least you're giving something back as you steal their life. You know, that's the least you could do. You say, oh, you're being so harsh. Well, you know what? I'm giving you a verbal warning that what you're doing is ugly in the sight of God. What you're doing, the judges, the police officers, and a lot of the people in political power, what you're doing is wrong, and you're going to pay for it. You're going to pay for it because the system's unjust. You guys don't spend any money on recreational centers. There's no YMCAs like there used to be. There's no baseball parks. There's nothing for them to do after school. And then you franchise into prisons like McDonald's. Hell, if I had the money, I could buy a prison. You know, if I had the money, I probably would buy a prison. I'd probably buy a prison where I could at least give these kids an education, because not everybody breaking the law is evil and deserves some of these harsh punishments. It's rough times. People are broke. People are poor. They have bad credit. You know, rent's $1,000 a month on up. You know, there's so many things that are going on right now that are unfair. And then when you take an 18-year-old who's doing the best he can and you slap him with a 10-year... Now, if he murders somebody, I can see you being harsh and coming down on that. If he rapes somebody, you know, those are different levels of breaking the law than a guy who's trying to sell dope or rob somebody or robs a store because they're trying to survive. You know, I just don't feel the way that you guys are operating makes any sense at all. I mean, the bottom line is create some recreational centers. the churches need to step up. They need to start getting in the game. Some of you pastors, you got your finger up your ass and you have no clue as to what you're, better yet, you're not doing anything. Period. Nothing for the kingdom of God. Preaching the same old message over and over in church is doing nothing to help these kids that are dying and going to hell. And if you don't believe it, go out on a Saturday night and just drive around for a couple hours. See what's really going on in these communities in the Bay Area, you know. But the bottom line is you guys need to start preaching in the streets. There needs to be recreational centers that are built for the kids. You guys need to start putting money in after-school programs. There needs to be a place where the kids could go get on the computer for free. You know, create some alternatives, man. I mean, stop locking up everybody and making it to where it's almost impossible not to get locked up now because there's no jobs for a lot of these kids and there's nothing for them to do. And then for repeat offenders or guys who are coming out of prison, there's no jobs for them and there's nothing for them to do. So this system is really screwed up and it's hurting us all because every time a judge or a district attorney locks another young man up and you steal his life and you don't give him the proper judgment, you're hurting us all. Because all you're going to do is make another person corrupted. When he gets out 4 years from now, and maybe he shouldn't have gotten 4 years to begin with, all you're going to do is start this vicious cycle of men totally having no choice but to continuously break the law to survive. And pretty soon, it's going to be so bad that everybody you come in contact with that's a minority is breaking the law. Because they've been to prison, they have a felony, they have no trade, they have no education, and you know they don't have any money. So pretty soon we all got to wake up here and say that it's going to hurt us all. You can get rich on these prisons and lock all the minority kids up, and you can lock all these kids up for breaking the law and get your little $50,000 a head for every person you lock up for every year. But you know what? Not only is what you're doing going to come back on you in this life, but in the life to come. Because all you're doing is using greed as a way of basically you're just living out in greed. This is all about greed. How many kids can we lock up? You're not trying to solve this problem. It's all about greed. And that's why y'all going to hell. You're going to hell. That's the bottom line.
I think that one of the things I know is true is, like, I myself, I'm half Jewish. I didn't grow up Jewish, but I've got cousins who grew up with more opportunity than I grew up with. But so much of it is self-discipline, is your peer group, who you're around, people who believe in you, people who are supportive of you.
That's right. Are you half Italian?
I'm half Jewish and half Scandinavian English. And I've been exposed to a lot. I myself am really not where I'd like to be in life, but I have helped a lot of people, and I hope to be able to continue to do so. I hope to go back. I hope to find myself in a position where I can help people and really doing something worthwhile. When you're so immersed in raising a family, working so hard, you come home, you don't have any energy, you're fatigued. You just try to maintain your existence, taking care of your kids, facing the next day and going at it and going at it and going at it. So many people don't have the time to get a perspective. It's just all survival. Life is about survival for so many people. And a lot of people don't think about that, but that's really the truth. It's people who take the time and are willing to say you can do it, are willing to show you how you can get to where you want to go, who can establish a road to goals. Rather than just surviving, you need someone to show you how you can achieve goals, how you can get there. And then you show people, these are people I know who've achieved these goals, but you have to have a sense of that. In other words, if you don't have a sense of who you are or what you can do from the people around you, it's like so many people, I remember saying people, you can't do it. You're just, this is who you are. You're never going to be able to change.